Hello students, in today's session I am going to talk about anthropology. This is the very first lecture. This is the introductory lecture. In that I am going to discuss meaning, scope, origin and development of anthropology. Myself K. Mukesh Singh, your mentor of anthropology. I am teaching since last 17 years. So let us start the class. So these are the topic on that I am going to discuss. And so first of all, understand what is actually anthropology. Anthropology is a biosocial science. And Aristotle was the first person, those who started gossiping and gave a conclusive definition of anthropology. He was the first person who coined the term anthropology. And this is the reason why he is regarded as father of anthropology. He not only contributed in the field of anthropology, he also contributed almost 22 different fields. He is not only the father of anthropology, rather he is also the father of biology and father of zoology. So according to his definition, anthropology is the gossip around human being. But this definition in itself, one of the complete definition, but it not give you a clear picture about the anthropology. So let us understand what is anthropology. The word anthropology originates from two Greek words. The first one is the anthropos. Anthropos means human, and logos. So these are the two words, it means study. Now you can say anthropology is the study of human being. It is the study of human being. Study of human being. So one question that definitely comes in your mind, what aspects of human being it deals basically? So it deals human being in totality. As said by several other scholars, it deals human being in totality. It is the man, physical and cultural part. It is concerned with holistic study of human being. It is the science of man and their action, and there are so many scholars who define it differently. So first of all, once again, just start a review over a various definition in order to clear your fundamental concept over the anthropology, and that gives you a true insight over the anthropology. So first of all, just see the various definition given by several scholars on anthropology. I am not going to tell you all the definition. I am going to only give you those definitions that in nutshell describe anthropology completely. One such definition given by Aristotle itself. Anthropology deals about gossiping around human. Other definition given by Herskovits, it is the study of man's biological features and their accomplishment. Means it study about man and their actions. So in that sense, it is a branch of science that is about study of man and their action. Kant also describe it, and according to him, anthropology is the study of human being, bio-socio-cultural development and progress. It is concerned with dealing human being what? Bio-socio-cultural development and progress. Bio-socio-cultural development and progress of human being. Besides this definition, there are so many anthropologists, they define it differently, but everyone try to explain and cover in their definition all aspects of the human being since their emergence till date. And that's why anthropology is considered as one of the adolescent branch of science that deals every aspects of human being in all sphere, in all space and time. According to my own observation, what I realize is in my teaching career of 17 years, it is a science of manipulating and being manipulated. Science of manipulating and being manipulated. So whatever right now I already told about, this is the study of entire human discourse in terms of biological success, in terms of their cultural success. And unless and until we are not considering all the aspects, because whatever physical changes we found in our surrounding are because of the human efforts. Man cannot have control over their physical component, but they can control their surroundings, what other animal missed, and that's why they suffer from this planet. What makes our insecurity in the future is our cultural achievement. And because man was the only creatures, those who succeeded in manipulating their surroundings, establishing various cultural components and cultural traits to satisfy their biosocial, psychological needs, and that's why they sustain and continue their journey. So this is all about the anthropology. That's why I define it in a new version. It is a science of manipulating and being manipulated. Because nature continuously tries to manipulate us. And if we cannot manipulate, the law given by whom? Darwin. Survival of the fittest and the natural selection. No species. Those who provided the favorable character can sustain in long run. So what we have, that's why I said we have no control over our biological features. We cannot suddenly make any changes. So whatever changes that takes place in the biological component, that even governed by the nature, either through the mutation or through the teratogenesis, or molecular changes that takes place at the level of gene or the DNA, that are guided by several other natural factors. This factor may be temperature, this factor may be light, this factor may be any mutagens, carcinogens, biological agents, or any other agents that has a potential to interfere and work and at our DNA or gene level and manipulate them, and gradually these minor manipulation or changes that takes place suddenly, that are known as the mutation at a DNA or gene level, when it get accumulated, that brings up bigger biological changes. And that bigger biological changes or any change takes place on the number of chromosomes that reform the species or deform the species configuration. Unless and until we have 46 chromosomes, we are considered by other peoples as human beings. Why we are human beings? Because we are possessing 46 chromosomes. We all have same number of chromosomes. Any one individuals, those who misses any chromosome, they lost the due respect of the human being. We cannot say them normal human being. That's why human started manipulating their physical surrounding. And that's why I said a science of manipulation and manipulating. So out of the several definitions given by various scholars, what I observe, I already told you. Now it's your turn to understand and make a depth over the content of this optional subject, because UPSC examination needs a rigorous efforts from student side too. If you are doing that, you will get your dream destination. So guys, one thing everyone must remember, work on terminology if you want to understand the real essence of the anthropology. Work on key terminology, understand their meaning, distinguish them from the other similar terminology. So all these definition given by scholars. Given by scholars comprises two few things common. What are the common? What are the common? They consider holistic study. They consider holistic, they use basically holistic study of the human being, or study of human being in totality. Study of human beings in totality. Holistic study of human. So is there any difference? I don't think so. There is any difference in that. Holistic study of human being or study of human being in totality, in all space and all time, from prehistoric till the date, from the emergence of the human being till the date. And that's why these two things definitely influences the people to think about this discipline, what this discipline is actually talk about, in order to explore holistic perspective of the human being, in order to explore information about entire endeavors of the mankind on this planet. We need to take the support of several other disciplines, and that's why we are started exploring the microscopic help of different disciplines, exploring different instruments, different ways of different disciplines like the stratigraphy, from the geology or geography. We also take the help of zoology, we also take the help of biology, sociology and history. So once you start taking the help of different discipline in order to define and make a definite shape of a particular discipline, that approach is called holistic, and that's why it is a holistic. It deals human being, all aspects, it deals human being in all spheres. At the same time, it takes the support of all other disciplines in order to define and make a distinguishable, definite definition of the anthropology. And that's why anthropology deals human being in totality, in holistically. All this help carried from the different disciplines widen the scope of anthropology, and gradually people start adopting various approaches in order to define it. And these approaches are holistic approach, these approaches are emic and etic approach, these approaches are comparative approach, these approaches are evolutionary approach. So by considering all these approaches, analyzing, interpreting and exploring information by personal visiting, by observing, by excavating, by interacting and synthesizing a universally acceptable theory or principle. And that's why the scope of anthropology gradually get widened. And for that, Scholars perform lot of ethnographic work. Ethnographic work is something that talks about exploring information of a particular culture through fieldwork. And whatever data they collected by their ethnographic efforts, it's a duty of ethnologists to collect the data, to interpret the data, to investigate this first or 1 degree or primary data, analyze them, generalize them, theorize them, and synthesize a universally acceptable principle. In this efforts, anthropologists also uses ethic and emic approach. This is not a conclusion only given by anthropologists. Anthropologists always given their conclusion or final verdicts or word after taking or considering the words of the masses, the words of the peoples belongs to different group across the globe, and on the basis of primary data that are collected through the ethnographic task. So all these efforts making this discipline a scope wider. So I am going to talk about what actually anthropologists, several scholars like the Piddington, like the Linton, they said about their scope of anthropology. We can also read this scope under the heading classification. So we can classify or branches of anthropology. So if you want to get an exact scope of anthropology, you need to explore the information from its branches, because under single umbrella you cannot discuss all these things, otherwise it seems to be a vague discussion. That's why several earlier scholars define anthropology and classify it into 2 major headings or branches. One is the physical anthropology and other is the cultural anthropology. This definition, this classification was given by almost all anthropologists, and at the broadest, if you are going to observe it, you will find the similar and you will reach on the similar conclusion. Physical anthropology, it deals about biological makeup of the human being. It deals about our physical features. It deals about human discourse from their emergence. It deals about and consider human being as one of the animal of the living world, and that's why it is confined with discussing on the physical parts. So further, physical anthropology is subdivided into many subheadings or sub-branches. These sub-branches are the human evolution, as you know, human evolution. These sub-branches are genetics and variation, human genetics. These sub-branches are epidemiology, you can say epidemiology. These sub-branches are, it's a matter of consideration in, okay, like the demography, you can say reproductive anthropology, you can say forensic anthropology, you can say anthropology of sports and nutrition, ecological anthropology, eugenics, all comes under the physical anthropology. All comes under the physical anthropology. Evolution, as you know, it is a gradual phenomena in that the part of human body gradually get modified when they started their journey from apes to the human. So evolution basically deals about human discourse, what structure be gotten in course of evolution, what be losted, how many vestigial organs we have, and what are those organs are on the verge of disappearance. So we must be ready for that, otherwise like other species one day or in the near future we to get eliminate and entire human race get vanished from this planet. So it's our accountability to maintain human race on this land for a long period in the futures, and for that, so evolution not only comprises to study just a primate. Primate is basically a primitive form of the human, you can consider it like that, or those who have flat nails, those who move on 4 foot, those who have a binocular visions, means eye in front of their face, all comes under the primate. So it deals also about the primatology. It deals about the origin, evolution of the life as well as the human being. It wants to establish the man place in animal kingdom. Similarly, human genetics. Genetics is basically a phenomenon of transmission of character from generation after generation or from one generation to the next generation. It talks about the hereditary changes, what are the changes that takes place at the gene level, how your genotype will affect your phenotype. As you all know, whatever your external visible expression, that is called the phenotype, and the invisible genic composition is known as the genotype, and your genotype that determines your phenotype. Phenotype is changeable, genotype remains constant, remains unchanged throughout the life. So that's why one must know about the gene composition and how your gene gradually manipulated. Any gene, any single gene change may cause entire total departure of the human being from this planet. Take an example, in 2008 to 2012, Government of India launches one project. The name of the project is the SAVE. SAVE is basically concerned with saving the Asian vulture, because suddenly in 2012 Government of India realizes the vulture population declined by 95% within the span of 4 years. So what are the reasons behind that? Later people start noticing the role of diclofenac because it's diclofenac that are the sole responsible agent for reproductive failure. And failure of their urinary system or the kidney failure. And because of these two reasons, suddenly the population of the vulture falls in India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan area, and that's why government, in order to save the life of this vulture, launched the project SAVE. Single change in gene may cause complete elimination of the entire human race from this planet. So my dear friend, so what is the importance of genetics? What I already told you. Unless and until you have 46 chromosome, you are considered as a human being. Any change in a single chromosome makes you infertile, makes you inaccurate, imperfect human being. Maybe you are a man, but you cannot perform the main task. Maybe you are a B-man, but you cannot perform the task of a normal B-man. You are declared as the infertile B-man, impotent B-man, incapable B-man, or incapable man. So remember all these things. The role of genetics is that one. At the gene level, at the DNA level, at the chromosome level, whatever changes that takes place, that determines our phenotypic visible expression. Epidemiology. Epidemiology is a complete study of various agents. Agent may be biological, agent may be non-biological. But if these agents are responsible for bringing a change and causing several diseases, epidemiology, now we all are familiar with the role of epidemiology in this corona pandemic time. And we understand what can change by a single virus and how virus set a new global order, how it is more dangerous than the danger cobalt bomb, most dangerous neutron bomb, and the hydrogen bomb. It is one of the dirtiest weapon in the hand of human being as a bio weapons. And these bio weapons causes many kinds of problem. In short run, in long run, it affects your gene composition, it affects your entire human life, and you have no remedies. What we realize is even the developed nation raise their hand and surrender and starts looking towards our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So, role of this agent in causing, in bringing and affecting human race, now we are familiar, and in near future we must get more familiar about that. So epidemiology are basically deals about the different kind of disease causing agent, and in what way, what kind of hygiene we should maintain in order to continue our life healthy, wealthy, and wise. And eugenics deal about the human race. Eugenics deal about the human race. We are differing in our physical features. Some are black, some are look like Mongols, some look like Indians and the Americans. So all these peoples, because of their different food and feeding, because of their different geographical locations, and because of their different level of or degree of environmental interaction, they little bit divergent, still they maintain their humanity and the number of chromosomes. That's why they are the human being. But at external level, we are looking different, and This differences creates one of the ever greatest problem, and that leads to many times efforts taken by top-notch world leader in terms of racial cleansing. The goal of anthropology is to consider every human being equal. Our goal is not to consider anyone as subhuman because of the difference in their color. If someone are black, not because of by birth they are black, not because God made them black, it is because of pigment responsible for that, it is because of their geographical location, it is because of their difference in the presence of gene in their body, and all these things make difference. So the physical anthropology tell us about the exact reason behind these differences. So whatever the misunderstanding prevails in the previous human society upon considering someone as a subhuman or other as a better human, and those are the subhuman, they don't deserve some right, and only the better human being, those who are the white, they have a right to enjoy all kinds of facilities and attain a higher social status. So our goal is to eliminate all these differences from the society, including ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism means looking our culture superior, considering our culture superior than the culture of the other religion. The Hindu people consider their culture is superior than the Muslims. Muslims consider their culture is superior than the Hindus, and this creates differences because both are wrong in their consideration. One cannot consider others' culture in the frame of their own culture. If you are going to consider, it's simply a ever greatest problem, and that problem leads to this wide spectrum terrorism. If you want to eliminate and stop all these things, there is urgent need to make people understand about why you are looking other culture, comparing other culture on the ground of your cultural consideration. So this is all about, guys. In the next class, I will talk about the cultural anthropology. Thank you. Bye.